Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriet Cole. As you can see, coming to you from my happy place here in Sag Harbor, New York. It is the magic time for me, being here in the summer, in nature, being able to take a pause every single day. It's the reminder because honestly, we can take a pause anywhere that we are every day. We should be doing that. But for me, this is the more than a gentle reminder. It is the push. It is the time of year that I choose to refresh, to renew, to rebalance, and to pay attention more acutely. And it's almost like a squirrel. I use this time to just soak in all of the great energy and then hold on to it when it is no longer warm, when the sun is no longer kissing your skin the way that it does in the summer, at least here, and I know many other places in the country and around the world. So this is my squirrel time, my harvest time for those good feelings, for good energy, and I'm happy to share the notion of that with you, the notion of harvesting goodness. We say on Dreamleapers Inspiration at the very beginning, the words invite everyone to pause, to take a moment to pause, to connect to the greatness inside, to connect to what makes you you. And I mean that. It is so easy to just move, just be so busy that you don't even take the time to take a breath, let alone to engage your spirit and to nourish your spirit. Yeah, I may have mentioned this a while ago, but I interviewed a sleep doctor couple of months ago. And one of the things that she shared with me that I did not know, because I'm not a doctor. I don't know the laws of physiology or whatever the right language is for what I'm about to say. She explained part of the importance of sleep. When you are in a deep sleep, a very sound, restful sleep, there's something that happens in your brain. And it's almost like a Roomba. You know those vacuum cleaners that are like robots? And originally, there was a brand called Roomba, and it was a round thing, and it would go all around the room and clean the floor and the corners everywhere in a room and then settle back. So now there are tons of devices like this. There are devices like this that clean your pool, that clean your home, etc. Okay, so you have the notion of what I'm talking about. She explained that when we sleep, there is that cleaning action that happens across your brain, through your brain, to remove plaque, to remove debris, to remove anything that is not supposed to be there. It takes it away, cleans it away. So when we're sleeping, there's actually a lot of activity that is going on inside of our beings in order to prepare us for the next day and the next day and the next day. How fabulous is that? I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't think about what might happen in the body. I really thought that rest is simply rest, that everything quiets down. And during that period of being quieted down, yes, there is rejuvenation, but the notion that there's work going on in there is really powerful. And so when we're thinking about how we care for ourselves and how we prepare ourselves for living the life that we want to live every single day, what do you do to show up for yourself and for your life? What are those things that you do? There's some basic things that we're told all the time, sleep being one of them. And most people, there've been many reports and studies that say that people don't get enough sleep. Drinking water, eating healthy food, moving your body, thinking positive thoughts. All of these things are important in terms of how we live our lives and how beneficial our lives are for us and for other people with whom we interact. So harvesting the goodness all the time, every day, telling yourself you're going to harvest the goodness like squirrels, just bring it in, identify it, choose the goodness and bring it into your being and hold on to it. Let it nourish you, let it cleanse you. That seems so basic, and yet it's something that we often don't think about. I believe because we just get so busy that we're just putting one foot in front of the other and doing what has become automatic. Yet what is automatic is not always the best thing for us. And so today I wanted to talk about the notion of being a leader. And it's from this perspective of how we live our lives, the choices that we make, the way we tend to our own selves, and the way that we engage others. It's all connected. We know that. But when you break it down and really try to think about it and explore what it means for you, what happens? So I think about my daughter when I say be a leader, because since she was a little girl, I have said to her, in any given situation, I want you to consider yourself as the leader in a group. And I mean, when I've been saying this since she was 3 or 4, I've always had this belief that she should have the agency to assume the role of leader in any group situation. Why? And never having to say it. It's not like, oh, I'm the leader here. Not that at all. But just to be of sound mind, to be present, to survey the landscape and see what does this moment call for, to be able to consider the next step forward, not just being in the moment. Yes, is being here and paying attention, but it is also looking ahead and anticipating what is next, what do we have to do to prepare for next, and how do we get those who are part of whatever the group might be in alignment so that we can move together in a particular direction. And why does that matter? Why would that matter for a little kid to think about? Why does it matter for us to think about? Well, peer pressure is real. It is real at every age. Someone with a loud voice or loud presence can very easily sway you to do something that may not be right for you, that may not be right for the moment, right for anyone. But the loud voice is often the voice that is heard and that is followed. I am not suggesting that in my daughter's case that she or that we have to be a loud voice, because also sometimes the quiet strategic voice is the one that can guide people to safety, to wholeness, to a better experience. The voice that is unconscious, the voice that is not thinking, the voice that is stumbling along, doesn't lead us usually to anywhere good. And so how can we be leaders of our lives, of our environment, and not be pushy, not be dogmatic, not be annoying, not be corny, not be any of those things that would actually not work? If you're too pushy, then it doesn't last that long when people push back. I don't want that. If you don't have some element of, I'm going to call it cool, but really it's engagement, attractiveness, something that makes people say, "Yeah, I wanna follow that person. I believe, I trust that person." If you don't have that, then it doesn't work anyway. You could be the smartest person in the room and nobody pays attention if you haven't figured out how to engage others. So this is part of it. Being a leader, it doesn't just mean that you are smart. It doesn't just mean that you could have figured out the equation, but if you can't share with others why they should care and create an environment where the magnetism of you and your intention is drawing people your way, then it doesn't matter. And why is that important? I coach many corporate executives as well as others. And I hear from a lot of corporate people, look, I checked the box. I did what I was told I had to do in order to get to this next level. I did all the work. I showed up on time. I did what I was asked to do. I did it well. Why is this not happening for me? Whatever next is. And honestly, I really strongly believe that the answer to that question is usually that they are not engaging others in a way that uplifts them, enchants them, transports them to whatever the goal is that you may have in mind. It is not enough to just do a good job. That is not being a leader. It is not enough to show up on time, even though you must show up on time. It is not enough to be willing to do more, even though you have to be willing to do more. The extra is attributed, I believe, to vision, to heart, to vision especially, heart, connectivity to others, engagement with the truth, a little bit of the magic dust of charisma, personality. You need all of it. And that doesn't always seem fair. Why do you have to do more? And sometimes we make what I think is a mistake. Sometimes we blame other people. Well, that person got to this place, and maybe it's because that person had more advantages. And I'm mad because this is discrimination, this is unfair. All of those things could be true. But I want to challenge us to say to be a leader is definitely a way, if not the way, a way to reach your goal. And true leaders have the capability of attracting all the energy that they need despite whatever the challenges are. So they don't have to check off any of the discrimination boxes. They don't have to check off poor behavior, poor management, uh, bad intentions of other people. These things happen. And true leaders figure out a way to push past that and get to the goal. So back to when I'm sharing this with my daughter, said to her, if you follow somebody else, you could follow them right off the cliff. If you follow somebody else, you could end up derailing whatever your plan is. It doesn't mean that you don't listen, but through the vision of leadership, what you want to be doing is looking to see what's ahead and how can I get to the goal that is ahead rather than getting derailed and going all the way over here. And that is true for us too. So I found a quote from someone who was a president of the United States many years ago, John Quincy Adams. And he said, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Think about that. If your actions inspire others to dream more, inspire others to learn more, inspire others to do more and to become more, you are a leader. That is not what most people think leadership is, at least not the people that I've talked to. A lot of people think that to be a leader is, you're being strong, you're being forceful, people fall in line. People fall in line because you're right. Well, Yes, and this is called Dreamleapers Inspiration. The whole purpose of this broadcast that we've been doing for the past 4+ years is to inspire each other to greatness. So, John Quincy Adams is saying if your actions inspire other people to dream more, inspire other people to learn more, to do more, and to become more, then you are a leader. So, think about this. Think about how you engage other people. And part of why this is the topic that I wanted to address today is because I was talking to someone just a couple of days ago, and we were talking about a person who had been part of our social network who had really turned people off. Her behavior became off-putting, became just too selfish, became draining for others. And so part of the conversation that we had, my friend and I, was about what happened with this relationship and perhaps why. And as we unpacked it, a few things happened. Part of it, to be honest, was complaining and kind of, I'm tired of her. I don't feel like being bothered with her. That's what I was hearing. And I was listening, trying to understand what had happened. And then part of it was looking through a compassionate lens. Why might this be happening? Why might this person be in a behaving in a way that is unbecoming and ended up pushing people away instead of drawing them forward, when what I know she was trying to do was to get people to be on her side. So we got through the discussion, and then it began to feel like just talking about people, and I don't like that. And this is not blaming the other person I was talking to, but what I did in that moment was to switch gears. I did not stay. I didn't allow myself to be stuck in the conversation that had kind of turned to what I felt was just like talking about people. And so then we started talking about ideas. I just changed the subject. And what was something better, more interesting, more valuable, at least to me, for us to talk about? If we were going to spend our time talking, what would we talk about? I hope you are hearing me. You have the power to change the subject. You have the power to pivot. You do not have to stay in a conversation or a situation where you do not think it is healthy, fruitful, inspirational. You don't have to do it. And you don't have to be mad when you change. I had the awareness, oh, I think I'm done. I don't want to talk about this anymore. So I just changed the subject. And it was no big deal. Let's talk about this now. What do you think about this? And we started talking about ideas and concepts and the future. And it became such an uplifting conversation. It was a moment's pivot that turned something that was going south into something that was uplifting. That's what a leader can do. As John Quincy Adams said, can inspire people to dream more, to do more, to be more. Do you do that? Do you choose to inspire other people to dream more? Do you beat them up when you're mad? Do you chastise them if they don't know something? Do you not say anything but kind of turn your brain off to others when you feel like they don't get it? When you're frustrated, bored, irritated, whatever it might be? What do you do in those situations? There are lots of things to do, but a true leader, John Quincy Adams says, is one who inspires people to dream more. It doesn't mean you're inspiring them to dream your dream. You inspire them to dream more for themselves, for their life, for the world. You inspire them to take action, to do more that can uplift them and others. Now, I'm saying to uplift them and others. Some people inspire folks to do more for bad purposes. We are not gathered for that. That can happen though. And so know that your thoughts and your words and your deeds can inspire people to do good or not. I often talk about endings being more important than beginnings. And part of that, when you end a situation, a relationship, an engagement, if you are angry and you lash out, You can create what I've called as roadkill. You break somebody's spirit, you lash out at them, and then what happens? Usually bad things that can have repercussions for a very long time. A leader doesn't do that. A, a positive leader doesn't do that. And so I've been thinking about that too, about endings, because not everything lasts forever. In a friendship that I have had recently, I realized it needs to change. And at first, something happened that really hurt my feelings. And I was mad as all get out. And I know I practiced this enough to know, pause, Harriet, put on the brakes. Don't say anything. Don't do anything. Now's the time to go inside, to breathe, to be at peace, to use the wisdom that I have gained over time. And I don't know whether my friend Denise is watching now, but she just told me yesterday one of the things that she noticed about me that I really, really appreciate. She said she's been watching Dreamleapers Inspiration and over time, and she was just so happy to see that she felt I have reached a stride kind of in alignment with my greatness, in alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing. And she said she could see a glow about me. Well, you know how grateful I am for that. Thank you, Denise, for seeing me. And she said, that comes with experience and time. It does. With experience and time and processing of what happens in your life and what's working, what's not working. Because you can have experience. I have another friend, quite a bit older than me, who a charismatic person who is not doing so much contemplating about, did this work well and what happened, and therefore repeating a lot of the same mistakes proudly because this is how I live. That is not what I recommend. So anyway, Denise was saying she could see and hear the experience flowing through me in this engagement and how empowering she felt it was for me and for you, for whoever's connected. So bring that back to what was happening with me and my friend. And by the way, I give examples because hopefully it may spark something in you that's happening in your life. Rather than lashing out, rather than saying, you did this is how what you did made me feel. I don't believe I deserve blah, 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 and whatever this treatment was. I had a list. Rather than exercising anything on that list, I meditated, I prayed, I walked on the beach, I put my feet in the sand, I engaged my happy place because I'm here. I allowed myself to tend to my own hurt. And then I did what my mother always says, to count my blessings, to make a gratitude list. What am I grateful for about this friendship? And when I wrote down, I'm grateful for this and this and this, little things and some bigger things. And by the time I had finished my gratitude list, and this is true, it's not an exaggeration, I just did this. By the time I finished my gratitude list, my heart had softened, my physical being had softened. And I just felt gratitude for this person who had been in my life for not that long, for the moment that the person was in my life, for the things that occurred in that friendship, and for the understanding that the friendship as it existed doesn't any longer. And that's okay. We don't have to blow people up. We don't have to create pain. We don't have to do anything but be present, assess the moment, decide what happens next as leaders of our own lives. And what do we do next? But to have an ending, because we have many endings in our lives, all the time things end. But to have an ending be sweet and you just move on, there's no roadkill. There's joy, there's gratitude, there's acknowledgement. When you can have that attitude rather than one other piece that I didn't mention, beating yourself up because how did I get myself in this situation in the first place? Do you ever do that? I thought I was smart. Am I that stupid? How could I have that finger pointing? You know, I always say, when you're pointing the finger this way, wrestle it around and point it at yourself. What is my role in this? Now, that is true, and it is important not to beat yourself up either. What my therapist said to me, be curious. Why did I have that attitude? Why did I make this choice? What compelled me to put myself in a particular situation? When you ask yourself questions about your own behavior in that way, in the same way, like I described that I was asking about my friend who had done something that I didn't care for, that was a deal breaker. Okay, it's harder to have a deal breaker relationship with yourself. So, what how can you look at your behavior when it isn't quite what you think it needs to be? You did something that wasn't smart, that wasn't being a leader, that wasn't engaging at a level that you know is good for you and in your universe. She said to me, be kind to yourself, be gentle with yourself, be curious. Why did you make that choice? So, how does this relate to the concept of be a leader? Part of being a leader is this self assessment, loving self assessment. Where did I go wrong? What did I do wrong? What could I do differently? When you start thinking that way through a curious lens, then what happens? I think that it's worth it for us to put on that lens, the lens of curiosity, the lens of looking lovingly at the choices that you've made. Because when you can do that, you're able to see better because you're not looking so harshly. You're not choosing to judge yourself or anyone else. It's more like an anthropologist. How did I get here? How did this happen? And what can I learn from it? So let's go back to John Quincy Adams' quote for a second to try to match up what he's saying with this other thing that I'm talking about. Adams says, if your actions inspire others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, to become more, you are a leader. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, be more, you are a leader. What if your actions inspire you to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more? You are a leader. You're the leader of yourself. That's when you get that embrace. You give yourself that embrace. I have a friend who closes his voicemail with, give yourself a hug. How often do we do that? How often are we stingy with love for ourselves? So, can your action inspire you to dream more, to learn more? A lot of times when we get older, we're like, oh, I've learned everything I can learn. My grandmother lived to be 101, and she said, you learn everything, you learn something every day until the day you die. But do you make an effort to learn more? Do you do research rather than just listen to what people say and regurgitate what they say? Do you make an effort for you to do more for yourself? You know how I've talked about walking. I'm making that effort for me so that physically I can be healthier and stronger. So we can use John Quincy Adams' words for how we nurture our own selves and how we nurture others. Because in order to be a leader, you have to be a leader, be an effective leader. You have to lead yourself too. You have to nurture yourself. You have to tend to yourself. So inspire yourself to dream more, to learn more, to do more, to become more. Be that person who goes back to school at age whatever to get that degree you didn't get it. Be that person who takes the class and is adventurous because, well, I wanted to do that. Be the person who goes out and explores the world and spends time with other people, even if you think of yourself as a reclusive person. Be the person who stretches to do more than whatever the moment was telling you to do just a moment ago. Be more, do more, learn more, share more. Be a visionary for your own life and make space to welcome other people to share that vision with you. When you do that, life is sweeter, I promise you. And as Denise said, it comes with time. Keep practicing. Keep working hard to be your best and to love and support the other people around you. I promise you, your life will be sweeter. You'll sleep better. You'll make better choices for how you live your life, and you'll be happy. Until next time, have a great day and make it count. Namaste.